All right, welcome everyone here to our masterclass today. I am super grateful and honored to have you here. In fact, I was just talking to my husband over text and he said, thank you for being willing to serve. And I'm just so grateful that I have the opportunity to help you. And this is about you and your marriage and what is going on and how we can turn things around with our proven process. So my name is Heather Choate. I am the co-owner and co-founder of High Thrive Coaching. You may have heard of us, or you may be brand new to us. So I'm going to let you know a little bit about what we do and how we've been able to help over 15,000 couples just like you who are on the verge of divorce. Their spouse was having an affair. They said they wanted out. They said you should just move on. They said, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. So if any of those sound familiar, then this is definitely going to be for you. And I'm going to share with you our 4 steps to save your marriage without getting your heart hurt. And this is the exact same process that we've used with all of those thousands of clients that have gotten such amazing results. And I think that it's radically different than anything else out there. It actually works, and it's been proven and tested so many times. I've used it in my own marriage. I've been married almost 18 years now, just a little over 17 with my husband, Ben, and we have 8 children together. You may hear them occasionally in the background. And I just was laughing because right before the masterclass, my daughter drew all over herself and it got on my shirt and everything. So, you know, if I look a little bit like a Picasso painting right now, you'll know why. So I'm in it with you guys, right? This is my day-to-day life. I am a mom, I am a wife, and these are things that I use every single day of my life. Now, in the masterclass, I want this to be an interactive experience, dialogue, not just a monologue. So please use the chat as you guys are on live with me today. We will be the only ones that see the chat, my team member and I here, Diego, and that will help us know where you are at. The more you can ask us questions, tell us what's going on, do some of the exercises that I'm going to give you and put your answers in the chat, then the deeper I can go into what matters most to you and help you even more specifically with where you are at with things. Does that sound good? Put it in the chat. Let me know. Does that sound good? Give me a thumbs up. Say heck yes. Let's do this. That sound good to you guys? All right. Awesome. Yes, let's do it. Awesome, Mark. Sure, Mike. Heck yeah, Phil. Kelly says yes. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to start with an exercise and I'm going to launch a poll here. And I want you guys to weigh in on this poll. Again, completely anonymous, but let me know, what is your primary problem? Are you couple A? You have divorce filed. Maybe your spouse is already talking to a lawyer, has filed for divorce. You want to know what you can do to get them to cancel it and get back with you forever. Or maybe they're just talking about divorce, threatening divorce, separation, okay? Couple B, your primary problem would be no trust or affairs. Maybe there are lots of trust issues. Maybe they've had an affair or multiple affairs, or you've had multiple affairs, or there are just other breaches in trust and you don't believe what they say or do, or they don't believe what you say or do. And then couple C would be dealing with no communication, very little communication, very poor communication. And if that is your primary problem, then you are in the C category. That means you can't talk without arguing, or maybe your spouse doesn't believe what you say. They don't open up and they are avoiding deeper communication. Okay. So go ahead and weigh in. Let me know. I see some of you are like all of them, and that's fine. Just try to pick which one is the most dominant or pressing of the issues. All right. Got a comment here. None actually fit. She has moved in with her affair partner and seeking divorce. Nothing filed yet. So yeah, you're definitely B and A, right? Seeking divorce, but hasn't filed and is moved in with an affair partner. Okay. Whoa. This is cool. Okay, I thank you guys all for weighing in. I'm saying it's cool because this is the first time I've actually ever seen a completely even tie. Like it's 33, 33, 33. What? That's so cool. All right. I'm geeking out about that because the numbers I've never seen that before, and I've done hundreds of these master classes. So that's interesting. All right, got a couple of comments here, really all of them, but a first and then C. Okay, but A first and then C. Gotcha. And C. Okay, awesome. So we've got the whole spectrum here. We've got divorce talks, we've got affairs going on or broken trust and very poor communication. All right. Thank you guys for weighing in. I do appreciate that. And for everyone else that's just joining now, make sure that you use the chat. Let me know what your questions are. I'm here to help not just give you good information, because that's not enough. I'm here to give you transformation. I'm here to give you real results. There's a reason why you're on the class today. Something in you knows that there is a possibility of this situation turning around. Part of you knows that, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Part of you hopes for it, part of you wants it, part of you is also scared and doubting and all that stuff. I get it. So you're here because you want to know if it's possible to turn things around, and then how can we do that? And so I am committed to helping you get there. Okay. Now let's do another exercise. I want you to ask yourself these 2 questions and put your answers in the chat, because I want to know where you are at with this. And I want you to declare it in the chat. Okay. First, where do I want my marriage to be 3 months from now? 3 months from now, where do you really want your marriage to be? For some of you, that might look like, I want to be able to move back home. I want to have us sleeping in the same bed again. I want them to no longer be talking about divorce. I want them to leave their affair partner. I want us to be talking about things. I want us to know that we're both working on the relationship, right? What does that look like for you? I want them to put their wedding ring back on. Okay. And then second, how will it feel to have your spouse in love with you again? So put your answers over in the chat. I'm going to go there and read them so that I can see where you guys are at. All right. Affairs on both sides. She left for her affair and he's married, says she wants a divorce, but no papers. Affair gone and is under the same roof. So what would that feel like? What would that look like? Okay. How good would it feel for the affair to be over and for you both to be working on the relationship and having trust, having security in your relationship? Okay. Another one, leave affair partner, back together, full trust, fully in love. It would be a dream come true. Thank you. Reconciled and stronger than ever. No more hiding things so we can work on our problems together. I want to be back in her life. I want to be her priority. It would feel so good to have my wife back. All right, let's go a little bit deeper. So your spouse is now back. They're committed to working on the relationship with you. They're committed to becoming a better spouse and partner for you. And you're committed to being a good spouse and partner for them. What are the things that you like to do together? How do you spend your time together? What is the look on their face when you greet each other at the end of the day? How do you embrace each other? What things do you talk about over dinner? How do you spend your evening? What kind of feeling do you have as you go to sleep at night? That feeling of peace and ease, knowing that you guys are now together and you're feeling so safe and so secure in your marriage. So really go deep into how amazing that would feel. For him to leave the other woman and come home, be in love again, and start a new marriage. It would feel great to have her share her feelings with me with great communication. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing this. This is really important. And I honor you. I honor you for coming here, and I honor you for doing this with me, because sometimes, do you ever feel like you're just trying to keep your head above water, right? Do you ever feel like you're just trying to take each moment as it comes and it feels so overwhelming, right? But the most important thing that we've determined that dictates whether a couple has success or not is actually what you just did right now. You may not realize it, but you actually overcame half the battle, because what you did is what most people won't do. And that's make a decision about where you want to go. Most people just flounder in the water, and it's like a ship without a rudder or a sail, right? And we know that if we don't know where we're going and we just let life happen to us, life has a way of ripping us to shreds, and we kind of just wander around aimlessly. So what you just did is you decided where you want to go. And that is so amazingly powerful, because when you decide where you want to go, then the way to get there will manifest. It will show up for you. All right. And we can help you get there. So let's dive into that. I see so many questions coming in. Awesome. I will definitely touch base on them. So Here is our big discovery. As I mentioned at the beginning, we've been working with tens of thousands of couples now. And we found that there's one thing that is a big reason why marriages are ending in divorce. I say it's something insane because literally no one else is even talking about this. They're not talking about this because they don't even know what it is. This is the 4 steps to save your marriage, okay? First, hitting the pause button. And I'll go deeper into each of these in a little bit. Second is where they start to take some steps towards you. Third is where you deepen connection. You restore trust. You both become better partners for each other. And then fourth is commitment. And this is where they give you their heart fully again. And you both are committed to each other forever. Okay? Now, I want to ask you guys a question because you seem like a really smart bunch here. Which of these do you think most people push for or want when their spouse is pulling away? What do you think that they're most often wanting of any of these 4 steps? Let me know in the chat. Connection, pause, okay? Commitment or connection? Yes, exactly, connection. I'm seeing a lot of similar answers here. You're right. And it's normal, right? When your spouse is pulling away from you, it's scary. It freaks you out, right? And all you want to do is know that they're going to come back to you and know that you're safe and know that they want to be with you. All right. But I'm here to tell you that if you go for connection or commitment too soon, I'm spitting here, sorry, too soon, it will backfire. It will absolutely backfire. So we help our clients solve problems in order. And this is really, really important. You cannot rush a connection or commitment too soon. Okay. And I'll share with you why. All right. So let's go into pause button. This is a term that I coined for this process. And this is where they stop pulling away from you more or moving closer towards divorce or another person. It's like they just hit pause on where they're at. Okay. And I often use the analogy here of like a train. Okay. Imagine your marriage is like a train and it's going full speed ahead right now towards the edge of a cliff. How many people relate? Does it feel like that? Yeah. I tried for commitment too soon and pushed her away harder and towards him. Exactly. So you understand what happens, right? We got to solve problems in order. All right. So this train is going full speed towards the edge of a cliff, right? Can you simply turn that train around in one instant and have it heading back in the right direction? No, it's got too much momentum, right? What we have to do is hit the brakes, slow down the momentum, and stop the train from going any further in the wrong direction. And that is what the pause button is about. It's simply slowing down and stopping the momentum. And it's really important that we don't miss this step. So here are some milestones that we look for, some markers to know if your spouse has hit the pause button. First, they are no longer actively pulling away more. Second, they stop going forward with divorce or separation. And third, they just kind of stop talking about leaving. All right. So do you think that your spouse may have hit the pause button? Okay. Let me know over in the chat. And what's going on here is that they are considering the possibility of staying and being happy with you, but they are not decided yet. That's really important to know. Okay. So has your spouse hit the pause button yet? Let me know over in the comments. All right. I'm saying no, far from it. She was fully decided from the start of the affair. Yes, I have. No, not yet. Okay. Weigh in and let me know, because some of you may have a partner that has hit the pause button. Yes, definitely. Awesome. So yes, no, no. Okay. We got a bit of a mix, but more no's looks like, and that's okay. So if you haven't hit the pause button yet with your spouse, it simply means that you've missed something along the way. And most people miss it too, which is why they don't save their marriage from divorce. But the good news is that you can learn how to hit the pause button with this proven process, okay? And again, one of the biggest mistakes most people make is pushing for their spouse's full commitment too soon and putting too much pressure on the relationship. Okay. We call this our push versus pull method. All right. And here I'm going to share with you some really common mistakes. In fact, every single person I've ever talked to about their marriage, including myself, we've made at least one of these mistakes, if not all of them. Okay. So I'll be the first to raise my hand and say, I've made these mistakes. All right. So these are the things that are common and push your spouse. Okay. First is demanding that they work on the marriage. This can sound like, you need to go to counseling. You need to go to therapy with me. You need to change. You need to leave the affair partner. You need to work on this with me. You need to talk with me. You need to stop the divorce. You need to do this for the kids. You need to honor your marriage vows, right? We make these demands that our partner change so that we can feel better about the situation. Okay. That's what demanding is. Raise your hand if you've done any of this demanding. The next one is manipulating them to try and get them back. Yeah, I see some hands raised. Exactly. Like I said, I've done all these. Manipulating them to try and get them back. This can be really obvious forms of manipulation, like threatening, like saying, I'm going to take the kids from you. You'll never see them again. I'll ruin your credit. What are some other ones I've heard? I'm going to take all your money. I'm going to take all your assets. I'm going to ruin your reputation. Or if you go have that affair, then I'm going to go do whatever I want with whoever I want, right? But sometimes these can be a little more subtle forms of manipulation. Playing hard to get, giving them the silent treatment, doing different actions like using the kids to try to get at your spouse, right? Using your friends or family to try to get at them, or make them like see where you're coming from, you know? It could even look like, and I'm guilty of this, like pretending that someone is interested in you at work or on social media so that they're jealous and they are going to see what they're missing, right? Like these things are not pretty, but sometimes we do them. They're these mind games and things that we try to do to get them back. The next one is begging, pleading, and acting out of desperation. Please don't go. Please come back to me. Please, 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 please. I'm begging you. I'll do anything to get you back, right? This one is so common, right? We get into this fear, and sometimes we're like, I'm going to fight for my marriage. And all you're doing is just trying to get them back, and you're doing it out of desperation. Okay. The last one is freezing and doing nothing out of fear. So let me know over in the chat, which of these have you done? I have done all of that. Yeah, that's not uncommon. And what is the result of any of these really common mistakes is that all of these will only push your spouse further away. They will push them further away because it does not feel safe, and the relationship, for some reason, has no longer become rewarding to them. Therefore, they feel like it is better to just leave. Okay. Probably all of these over the past few years, all of these. Yeah, I've done them all too. They do not work. All right. So what we do is we help our clients pull their spouse to them like a magnet. So it comes back naturally and effortlessly. It's like right now you've got the magnets the wrong way. You know, you have like that tension where you're just kind of repelling each other. We want to get them flipped so that they just sink back up. Okay. So here we take the pressure off so they no longer feel the need to have more space from you. We actually validate where they're coming from. This does not mean we agree with what they're doing, but we give them the gift of understanding and trying to understand their perspective without any pressure on having the relationship work or not. And the other thing that we do is what we call a pattern interrupt. Right now, you and your wife or you and your husband are in a certain pattern. There's a different pattern for each of you. There's a certain way that you are communicating or not communicating. There's a certain way that you're handling the kids. There's a certain way that you're talking about the marriage or not talking about the marriage. There's a certain way you talk about the affair. There's certain behaviors that you guys are in. And you may have developed these patterns over the past weeks, months, sometimes years, sometimes even decades. I was just talking to an 82-year-old a few weeks ago. Okay. And these patterns tend to become more and more ingrained the more time passes, right? And our habits really define our lives. So what we help you do is identify what pattern are you in with your spouse right now? And then let's interrupt that pattern. Why do you think we would want to interrupt the pattern that you're in right now? Let me know in the chat. I'm really curious. Why do you think we would want to interrupt the pattern? Say my pattern, just as an example. This is a hypothetical. Yeah, because it's not working. Super smart. Exactly. You guys know if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? Definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing and expect something different, right? Yeah, it's not working out. There's actually a deeper reason even than that, though. All right. So let's say my pattern is that my husband is blaming me and is very volatile and is blaming me for his unhappiness and says he wants out. And so I try to push him to talk about the marriage and he just shuts down every time. So I push even more. Okay. So that's the pattern. And as I work with my coach, they help me understand that every time I push him to try to talk about things, he only shuts down more. It's actually creating more and more of a gulf between us, right? You guys said it's not working, right? And it's not. What would happen if the next time he starts blaming me for his unhappiness and I start trying to push to work on the relationship, I just took a big step back and took the pressure off. And I just said, I understand that for you, you're not happy here. And I understand that for you, this has been really hard and painful. And that would be a pattern interrupt, right? It would get his attention. So not only do we want to change what's not working, you guys are very smart, right? But we want to get their attention that something is actually different here. And it's not a manipulation because, again, there's no pressure to try to make it work. It's simply understanding and coming from a place of like calmness and centeredness. What this does is it shifts us out of a very, okay, how do I put this not bluntly? I can't not put it bluntly. So it's just going to come across bluntly. All of the patterns of the push method over here, let me go back. All of these are all centered on what? What are all of these behaviors fixated on? Are they really fixated on your spouse or who are they really focused on? Where are you coming at this situation when you're doing any of these? Our emotions, yeah. Are we focused on our spouse or who are we actually focused on? I'm going to wait till I see it in the chat. I'm going to keep doing this with my mouse. Our need of them, ourselves. Yep, ding, ding, ding. These are actually all focused on ourselves. Oscar, Debbie, guys, nailed it. Good job. When we're in any of these modes, we're thinking about ourselves and how hard it is and how we don't want to lose them and how we'll do anything to get them back, right? It's a very self-centered approach. When we come at it in this way, oh goodness, I'm pushing wrong buttons. There we go. Oh my goodness, come on. I can click a mouse. All right. When we come at it this way, it is very much focused more on them and where they're coming from. And it takes you out of your own head and helps you understand their perspective. And when you do that, that's going to be very different feeling to your spouse. They're going to be like, what is different about Cindy and Mike and Debbie and Mark? What is different here about Phil and Kelly and Jennifer, right? What is different? Brandon. Something is different and it's going to get them to pause. And when we take the pressure off, now we've created space so they no longer feel the need to go further and further away from us. Okay. So how do we do this? Now, there's a biological reason why most people do not get themselves out of focusing on themselves in this situation and doing the demanding, the begging, the pleading, the manipulating, the freezing. And I'm going to explain why here in just a minute. So most of us, we feel so overwhelmed, so unsure, so full of pain and fear that they totally get this wrong, right? When we totally get this wrong, when we try to do it on our own and we do other ineffective methods out there. And I want you to know, it is not your fault that you have not been able to do this on your own. It is not. If you take nothing away except for this today, I want you to know it is not your fault. I'm not saying you don't have accountability for the actions that you are doing, but it is not your fault that you have not been able to do it on your own. There is a biological reason behind it. See, what happens is that during and after what we call an emotional trauma like a fight or your spouse leaving, walking out the door, or maybe she says, I want a divorce, or I love you, but I'm not in love with you, or finding out that they are having an affair. There is a heightened emotional state where your body responds to the rejection and tension as if it were an actual physical trauma or threat. What happens is your brain pumps out cortisol, epinephrine, and other stress hormones. They literally flood every single cell of your body within seconds. Your body and brain were designed to do this to protect you from dangerous situations. Like it served us really well when we were on the savannah and had to worry about like a lion, right? But now the lion is your spouse. So even though in this case, there isn't a physical danger, usually, your body actually doesn't know the difference. And what happens is that this process clouds our thinking and causes us to react out of instinct. So we do not make logical decisions. We go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. When we're in that mode, emotionally, you just can't help but get into fear. And the reasoning part of your brain, almost all the blood flow is reduced in the reasoning part of our brain. And so we become a little animalistic. We become very focused on self, and we react, we demand, we manipulate, we beg, we plead, we freeze, right? So this can lead to intense emotional distress, right? Even physical pain. In fact, I would not be surprised if you can feel it in your body right now. Where is this hurting you? Where do you feel the burden of this whole situation? Does it feel like a ton of bricks just pressing down on your shoulders, right? Does it feel like stabbing in your heart or like pressure on your chest, like you just can't even take a full breath? It's so hard to even breathe. Does it feel like a knot of anxiety in the pit of your stomach? Does it feel like tension and pinching in your mind? Like you just can't understand what's going on. You can't even think straightly. You have no idea what's going on. Let me know in the chat, where do you guys feel this in your body? All right, show me all of it. You feel all of it. You feel all those places, like tension all over your whole body. That's really intense, right? It can definitely take a toll. You might not be sleeping at night. Might not be able to focus at work, right? All of it. And it sucks. Yes, it does. Yes, Debbie says all of it for more than a year. Kelly, oh, honey, all of it. Exactly. And so eventually these things will take a toll on your health if they haven't already. Like you will start to manifest some really unpleasant things from all of this cortisol and all of this stress that you're carrying inside of your body right now. Okay. And that's evidence that if you rely on your instincts right now, there is no way that you can expect to be in a clear-headed manner to draw them back to you. And that's where most people fail to ever salvage their marriage. And more couples end up getting divorced. But the good news is, okay, you do not have to do it alone and risk losing them forever. You don't have to. So we've created a scientifically proven 4-step process that will take you from point A, where you are right now. You guys wait at the beginning. You're broken. You're unhappy. You don't have trust. You've got divorce talks. You're not communicating, to point B, where you said you want to be. Back together again. No more affairs, restoring trust, able to talk about things. Both of you feeling happy and secure in the relationship. Crazy in love more than ever before. Your relationship healthier and stronger than ever before. So you will learn how to stop unintentionally pushing them away and learn how to pull them back to you naturally and effortlessly. And that is why it is so important to have guidance from an expert in this journey, so you know what will work and what will not. One of my favorite sayings is that you cannot read the label when you're inside the bottle. We are all inside the bottle of our own marriage. We are too close to it, too inside of it to see it for what it really is. I'm inside the bottle of my own marriage, right? Even though I help couples all the time, sometimes I'm still like, I have no idea why we're arguing about this still, right? And so we need someone from the outside, an expert who knows how to read the bottle, how to diagnose what's really going on, and prescribe the exact treatment plan to get you to the result that you want. All right. So let me know in the comments if you would like your marriage assessed by an expert. We offer a completely free marriage assessment. In fact, I'll go ahead and put the link over here. But if you want the marriage assessment, you can go ahead and just fill out that quick form, but say yes over in the comments. We'll make sure we don't miss you. Our calendar for these is about 85, 90% full as of today. So we only have a few spots open, but we will definitely let you know when more open up. It is first come, first serve. So do you want your marriage assessed by an expert? Do you want us to read the label on your bottle to understand exactly what's really going on and prescribe the treatment plan that's going to get you to the result that you want? All right, awesome. I'm saying yes, yes, 100%. Awesome. We will make sure that you get that. So after we have assessed your marriage, then it's vital that you follow your coach's plan for you so you successfully hit all 4 of these reconciliation markers or steps, because without all 4, your marriage won't likely be saved. Now I'm going to share with you a client win. This one's anonymous and there are a few typos. So I'm going to fill in the gaps a little bit on the English here. Heather, my wife served me a separation agreement a month ago, and I have been looking it over, making little edits and comments so we can go over it together first. This morning, she tells me that she doesn't want me to sign it. She said, let's wait and see what happens. We can always make a new one later on if we have to. She hasn't said she wants back in, but this feels really good. I've actually been doing less, and I thought it was giving up. Thank you and Mark for founding High Thrive and making this information and support available. So you guys are really smart here. What stage or step is our client at here? Is he at pause button? Is his wife taking steps towards him? Are they deepening connection, or are they already at commitment? Let me know in the chat. What step are they at? Wait for some answers to come in. What do you guys think? I'm going to get a drink while I wait. Pause. Yep. Anyone else? Yep, exactly. You guys are smart. Ding, ding, ding. They've hit the pause button. Now she's starting to make some steps back in. Pause. Yes, exactly. So she started off with a separation agreement, right? And then she said, wait, let's not sign it. Let's just see what happens. She's not saying, I want back in, I'm going to put my wedding ring on and let's go, to Fiji tomorrow to celebrate our anniversary, right? She's actually even giving herself an out still, right? Of saying, hey, we can make a one later on if we need to, right? And here's the interesting part to me, okay? Yeah, she hasn't said she wants back in yet. Exactly. The interesting part to me is he said, I have actually been doing less and I thought it was giving up. And what he was doing less of were all of those push behaviors, the demanding, the manipulating, the pleading, and the freezing. He actually started doing what was working, which was taking the pressure off and giving her understanding. All right. So that's how it works in reality. And that's just one of thousands and thousands and thousands that I could share with you. All right. Step 2 is where they start to take some steps towards you. Here is where your wife or your husband is going to want to spend more time with you as they become attracted to you again. Our goal here is to have them want you and want to spend more time with you. So let me know in the chat, are they wanting to spend time with you right now? Are they open to having conversations? Are they asking you on dates? Are they talking to you at all, right? So yeah, I'm seeing, yep, some, but no, not there yet. Yep. So if not, you're not alone. It means you haven't reached this milestone yet. You would still be at step 1 there. And what happens is that typically you may have lost a spark. You may have let unhealthy patterns and issues get in the way. And that's why they said they needed space, or they started to pull back, or had an affair, or they wanted out. So this is what it really means when they're saying, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. It means they've lost their desire for you. And this is actually why desire is more powerful than love, because you can say, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. But their desire is something that you can get back. And it's easier than you might realize when you do it the right way. So instead of letting your fear repel their desire for you even more, we'll show you how to rekindle that desire. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make right now as they start to take steps towards you is trying to resolve deep issues when you don't have their desire, when you're trying to like talk about why they're having an affair or talk about, why they're leaving or why they aren't happy or why they say whatever they're saying. That's going to backfire, right? If they don't have the desire to work on those things with you and the desire to be with you at all, that's like trying to drag a camel to water, right? You can kick, you can scream, you can bribe, remind them of their vows, demand that they work on things, remind them of all our happy times together, try to convince them all you want. But if the camel isn't thirsty, it ain't gonna drink, okay? So we wanna get them thirsty. So let me know in the chat, what have you already done to try and solve this issue? And why do you think it hasn't worked? Have you done counseling? Have you done therapy? Have you tried to work on yourself? Have you done self-help books? Have you tried to give them space? Did you think separation was going to fix things? Let me know over in the chat what you have done to try to fix this and why do you think it hasn't worked? Okay. Working on myself. She's still not receptive of me, but has hit the pause button. Catching back on some chat over here. Awesome. What else have you guys done to try to fix this? And why do you think it hasn't worked? Why do you think working on yourself hasn't worked? He doesn't trust that things will change for the good. Yeah. Sometimes they might even see it as a manipulation, right? You're only doing this just to get me back. And if I come back to you, then I'll just go back to the way it was. And I don't want that, right? Okay. I've been working on myself and she says she's noticed it, but is afraid of the changes. Yeah. I've given her lots of space. It seems she just wants more space. We are each working on ourselves. I'm working on me and I'm doing my best to give him space. Okay. He's deployed and she's a fellow soldier. So she's there and I'm not. All right. Thank you guys for sharing. So if you and your spouse aren't blissfully in love, if you're just trying to work on yourself, right? That in of itself is not the solution. It's good to work on yourself, but if that were the solution, then everyone would have a happy marriage already. Agreed? Because almost everyone's trying to improve themselves, but very few people actually have a happy relationship. What's really needed here are specific proven steps and relationship skills that you just haven't been taught up until now. The good news is that you can learn. And what you're really missing here is you're missing their desire to work on things. How many of you would love to have a spouse that's willing to work on things, to turn their unwillingness into willingness, right? Not because you force them or manipulate them, I'm getting tongue-tied, but because they want to be with you. They want to work things out. They have the desire. I'm not just talking about sexual desire, although that can be part of it. That usually comes later. But the desire to be with you, the desire to talk with you, the desire to spend time with you, the desire to work things out, right? So that they're actually the one chasing after you. Their desire will make all the rest unfold exactly as it's meant to. We literally coach our clients word for word on what to say to reignite that spark of desire again, what to text your spouse, how to have in-person conversations so that their efforts don't keep backfiring and they stop unintentionally pushing their spouse further away, but we show them what to do to have their spouse naturally feel attraction for them again. All right. So now that your spouse has hit the pause button, we're going to show you how to flip their emotional switch. Okay, right now their emotional switch is flipped off towards you, okay? And we're gonna get it flipped on towards you so that their desire to be with you again and they are taking steps towards you. Here is another client win. Biggest win yet, she says, this is a he, sorry. Biggest win yet after 2 months and I was doing everything wrong until I started the program and changed my whole outlook and stubborn ways. It was heartbreaking to hear she was moving into her own townhouse last week, but it simply turned into her missing me and she reached out. We talked here and there, but yesterday she called me out of the blue and we had a great talk. Even better today and tonight, she dropped more hints than a little that she wants to get back together. So you can see what step is he at, right? He was dealing with a wife who moved out and he took the pressure off, right? And then what happened? Because he took the pressure off and he pattern interrupted, she started to miss him and want to talk to him. So she started reaching out. And then they talked, and then they had a great talk out of the blue. And then today, no pressure on his side. Now she's dropping hints that she wants to get back together, right? So that is what happens here in step 2. All right. This is also known as the teeter-totter effect, though. And that's why we have step 3. Sometimes they are really warm towards you and then they become cold. Sometimes you have a great conversation and you think everything's going great and all of a sudden they pull away. Or you think, oh my goodness, they're finally gonna leave their affair partner, and they do for like a week and then they go back. It's kind of this hot and cold back and forth. And that's why we have step 3, which is where we want to take some of that attraction, some of that desire, and their willingness to consider being with you and finalize the deal. So they're no longer ping-ponging back and forth. And here is where we deepen that connection, where they will feel safe and close to you. And often they'll invent excuses just to be around you. Now, this stage feels really, really good because you can talk about anything. You feel like you're really good friends. You feel like you're really connecting, right? But there's a warning, because here is where most people make a huge mistake. And I want to make sure you don't make it as well. All right. For when you get there, you either A, get stuck in the friends stage, co-parenting stage, where things are nice, but they're not romantic. They're not passionate. They're not what you really want. Or B, they push too hard, too soon for commitment, and it backfires because they're not solving problems in order. Okay. So have you made either one of those steps? Let me go back real quick. For those of you who feel like they may have gotten here to step 3, did you get stuck in the friend stage, or did you push too hard, too soon for commitment and it backfired? For some of you, you're like, I never got there. So thanks for the heads up. I'll remember that when I get there. Okay. Yeah. I got a me here. You made one of those mistakes. Yeah. I've gotten stuck in the friend stage. Exactly. All right. So we've identified that there are 12 tests that your spouse puts you through before they fully give you their heart and let go of their old story about you. Right now, they have a story that's very negative about you. I'm not happy here. You're too controlling. I can't trust you. You're not emotionally supportive. Name it. Like your spouse has this negative story, right? And here we're going to help them to let that story go about you, to pass all of those different tests that they kind of put you through, so they no longer see you in the way that they do right now. And we'll coach you on how to wipe the slate clean by completely changing their perception about you. No matter how long they may have held on to these beliefs or how many mistakes you made or they made. So you both can just forget about the past, learn from the past, but see each other with fresh eyes. I don't know about you, but this is what I want in my relationship, where we both see each other for who we really are, and we accept each other, flaws and all, mistakes and all, where we can be so raw and so vulnerable and so safe because we have such deep trust in each other. That to me is true intimacy. And that to me is the beauty and sacredness that comes in a marriage relationship alone. Because who else get to share all of you with, who else you get to share all of you with? You get to share all of you with each other. And so that is where we help our clients get to, which is often a level of love and a level of connection that you may have hoped for, but never actually realized. And we remove all the barriers that might be standing in the way to that. All right. Sometimes that's limiting beliefs. Sometimes that's past patterns. Sometimes that's past trauma. Sometimes that's addiction. Sometimes it's midlife crisis. Sometimes it's narcissism. You name it. But we'll help you get there so you can see each other with fresh eyes. And you can be loved and accepted for who you really are. All right, so here's how our client Leah ended her husband's affair and restored trust between them. All right, this is a long one, but it's good. She says, 1 year ago today, my husband and I brought our son Gideon into the world. But this day doesn't just mark his birthday. On this special day, a year ago today, I was terrified. Even though my husband was there for the birth of our first son, I was petrified of the unknown, of what was to come, that I had no idea what lied ahead of me, of us. I was afraid I was going to raise our son by myself, that the most my husband would see him was to visit, and I would be alone because her husband said, I'm in love with another woman and I want to divorce you and marry her. back to her story. Okay, but here we are 1 year later, and my husband and I are happier than we've been in years and stronger than ever. We are doing this parenting thing together, and we are striving every day to have a thriving marriage. Can you believe it? Gideon is going to be a big brother come September. And honestly, I couldn't have done any of this, and my husband and I would not be where we are today without the tools that Mark Johnson and Heather Choate gave me. And I must say, it took work and consistency, but man, was it all worth it. I am truly blessed to have found this program, and I'm so blessed to be able to work with such an amazing team. Thank you guys for all you do. And for those of you working to have a thriving marriage, don't give up. Stay consistent. There is a rainbow after every storm. This too shall pass, and you will rise stronger than ever before. And that is such a beautiful testament of how a completely, seemingly, therapist told her to move on. Her friends told her to move on, told her it was impossible, told her she should just respect herself and get a man that would honor her, and respect her. But she knew that something in her heart was saying, I want to be with him. I want to make this work. And I want to know that it's possible. And one thing about life is that the challenges are going to come to all of us. Challenges always happen. It's what you do about them that makes a difference. Are you going to learn from the lessons that life is trying to present you? Or are you going to let it crush you and let you stay stuck and let the same painful cycles repeat themselves until you do finally actually learn the lesson that life's presenting you? So for some of you, you are going to learn from it, and you are going to become stronger, and you are going to rise above it and create a new reality. And those are the kind of people that we work with. All right. And I promise you're one of them. It's just if you're ready or not. That's up for you to decide. The last step here is commitment. All right. And this is where they give you their heart fully again. So I want you to imagine here how amazing you will feel to know exactly what to do, so that they come running after you and they are begging to be with you. And imagine what a relief it will be to have a step-by-step plan that takes all the guesswork out of this and the mistakes that you will suffer if you try to do this alone and you rely on those biological instincts. No more crying, overanalyzing, ruminating, worrying, stressing, beating yourself up, losing sleep, begging them, and crying even more. No more of that. It'll be over. Just a sweet, easy feeling of peace, knowing that you have now rekindled the romance between you, and you get to spend the rest of your lives together in security, ease, and passion, just you and them together forever. So let me know in the chat here, what is it worth to you to have that? Let me know in the chat, on a scale of 1 to 100, how important is saving your marriage to you? How important is it? Mark says 100. Awesome, Mark. Love that. You were quick to the chat there. That's awesome. Cindy, 100. Jennifer, 100. They're coming in. Let me know. Phil, 100%. Awesome. 100. Yep. I like Mike's transparencies here, 95, because she still puts doubt in my mind. I like that transparency, Mike, and that's important to know. And it's okay that you don't 100% know, because there's party that's protecting yourself out of fear. And so we need to get you out of fight, flight, or freeze mode so you can make clear decisions. Okay. Brandon, 150%, 100 plus. Awesome. All right. That's great. So in just a moment, I'm going to tell you guys how you can get access to our path coaching and to get them running back to you. But before I do that, I want to ask you a question. Would you give anything to end your pain that you're in right now? You guys talked about even the physical pain, let alone the emotional, mental, sometimes even spiritual pain, right? To be back with your love again. Would you give anything to have a new, healthy, and beautiful relationship with them? Of course you would. That's why you're here. So we've spent thousands of hours working with couples, and we've distilled our most powerful methods into the simple 4-step coaching plan that will flip the switch deep inside of them and trigger the most unstoppable desire and have them begging to be back with you again. All right. Now, sometimes I get asked the question, how long does this process take? All right. And it varies, obviously, because your marriage is as unique as you are. Okay. But here are some general guidelines kind of that I see. So within the next week, 1 week to 2 weeks, your spouse is going to hit the pause button. If they haven't hit the pause button yet, we're going to have them hit the pause button in the next week or two. That's really typical for our clients to do, even in the worst, hardest cases, like cases you wouldn't even believe, like crazy, we've got restraining orders, you name it, we've seen it. So even in those cases, hitting the pause button within a week or two, you'll already have your spouse hitting the pause button, and you will know what's really going on between you and your spouse, okay? Then within just a few short weeks from now, you'll have our guidance on exactly what to text them, how to have the hard conversations, how to have them want to spend time with you and want to be with you again. And you will go and flip their emotional switch and trigger their desire for you and trigger their desire to be working on the relationship with you. So what are the next steps? Well, here is the next step. We want you to go ahead and fill out this form if this speaks to you and you want to explore working with us and get the free marriage assessment. You just go ahead and fill out the quick form that I put over in the chat right now to schedule your free marriage assessment with us and see if coaching with us is a good fit. Now, we make sure that you are a good fit for the program as well as we are a good fit for where you want to go. And if not, we'll part ways as friends, and it's totally okay. We are here committed to helping you get to where you want to be in your relationship. So that is the first step. And the next thing is that our spots are nearly full on our calendar, and our spots are nearly full on our coaching program because we're a very small coaching team and we do limit the number of clients that we take on in our one-on-one coaching program. So for that reason, we want to make sure we give our clients our very best attention, and we do limit the spots. So if this speaks to you, I encourage you to act quickly because they do fill up very, very fast. Last week we had a waiting list, and so now people are still trying to get on with us, right? And so we don't want to be put on a waiting list because that's going to take even longer for you to get going on this process. And time is what kills all deals, right? Time is what's going to kill your marriage if you're already on the verge of divorce. So go ahead and fill out that quiz right now. Go ahead and fill out that form. And then we cannot wait to see your marriage thrive. I'm going to open it up here for about 8 minutes for any questions or comments that I was not able to answer. All right. So if you have a remaining question about our path process, about any of the steps, the most common question that I get is, Heather, will this really work in my situation? And the reality is that more often than not, it will. But we will tell you 100% if it will not, because we have no interest in helping people that their marriage is simply too far gone. We will let you know. And the cases that I've seen like that actually are too far gone are ones that have not been talking to each other in over a year, or they live 2,000 miles apart and they never see each other, right? Situations like that. The other situation that we will not be able to help with is if there's any kind of physical or sexual abuse going on, okay? So just be aware of that. All right, any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat now. I wanna make sure I give you guys all the value that I can. I'm gonna go to a couple comments here. She has too many people in her ear telling her to leave me alone. I've been working on myself, and she says she's noticed it, but is afraid of the changes. So I appreciate this comment here, and I just want to touch base on that a little bit. So just like she may have many people in her ear telling her to leave you alone, I bet you also have a lot of people in your life, maybe even sometimes yourself, wondering if you should just move on, wondering if you should just keep trying to do this, wondering, is it even possible to turn things around? Do I even want to turn things around? And so in moments like that, I really encourage you to tune out the voices of fear and of doubt and uncertainty and listen to that voice inside of yourself, the one that knows truth, the one that's saying, I need to do this. I need to know I gave my marriage everything I could. I want to look back at this time at the end of my life with no regrets. I want to have peace of mind knowing that I gave my marriage everything I could. And no matter what happened, it was worth it because I know I gave it my all. And that gives me such a feeling of peace. I'm no longer left wondering and worrying, could it have worked? Woulda, coulda, shoulda is one of the worst feelings that you can have in your life. So think about how you want to look back at this time 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 30 years from now. How do you want to look back at this time in your life at the end of your life and make a decision that you know you'll be proud of, that you know that you're called to do. Learn the lessons so these same painful things don't just keep repeating themselves. Okay, I listened to that voice that she says, that says she and I are meant to be together and I'm not giving up. Awesome. Love to hear that. That is beautiful because that's where your power lies. And then the rest, you talk about how she's afraid of the changes. That is indicative that there are other things going on beneath the surface, right? And so that's why it's so important that we uncover what those root issues are that are causing her to believe this about you. Because one of the biggest things that we do, right, as human beings is we focus on the pain, we focus on the behaviors that our spouse is doing that hurt. It's the affair, it's the lies, it's the broken trust, it's how they won't talk to you, it's how they're telling your kids whatever this is, right? It's how they're breaking their vows, it's how they're breaking your heart, right? One of the things that we do as an expert is help you to not just look at those painful behaviors, because that is the symptom of what's actually going on underneath the surface. And we help uncover what those root issues are that are driving that painful behavior. No one wakes up and is like, I have a life goal, I want to get divorced. Or no one wakes up and be like, I think I want to go cheat on my spouse today. Like, it doesn't happen. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. It's serving them in some manner. It's getting them something that they feel they need or want. Okay. And so when we can uncover why they're doing what they're doing, then we can help to solve that root issue. So these painful symptoms don't just keep coming up. So the fact that she says, I'm afraid of the changes, means she still has a lot of fear and she still has some walls built up because there's something still going on underneath the surface that we need to heal. And that's going to take some time to go deep into what that is and really resolve it for life. Okay. So it doesn't just keep coming back. Let me know if that was helpful. All right. Jennifer, with him still being deployed for another 2 weeks and him being the person in control of our communication and her there with him, do you think this will work? He's had previous affairs. Okay. So Jennifer, this reminds me a lot of actually Leah's story, the client that I shared with you. Her husband was also military, was having an affair with someone that he was deployed with and was gone very often from the home and was also kind of controlling how often they were able to communicate. So it's really interesting that there's some correlation there. And the reality is, Jennifer, we need to meet with you one-on-one because I don't know enough here to say 100% that it will, but I'm 95% sure that it will, because 95% of the time it can be turned around. There are things that you can do to establish what we call healthy boundaries. Now, you may have heard the boundaries word. It tends to evoke a lot of fear in people. This is not a scary thing. This is what actually creates healing and will not push them further away. Okay. And in the instances of affairs, there needs to be healthy measures taken to protect you. And those healthy measures are going to create a level of respect and eventually trust again in the relationship. So definitely want to get on a call with you and go deeper into that. Okay. All right. Another question here. She moved in with her affair partner, took her 2 older kids. I have our younger 2. She and affair partner are trying to have a baby, might be pregnant already. Hope or not, how? Yeah, this is another one that is, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This is getting a lot more dire. Like, we are the ICU for marriages, but when they're already moving in, when they're making future plans, when they're planning to have a baby, it's going to be tricky. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. What I would recommend that you do is get on the call, do the deep marriage assessment, because there's other things that we want to look at to see, is there possibility of here? So if you're wondering if it's possible or not, definitely take advantage of that free opportunity, because then you're going to really know or not. And if, it just isn't looking like this is going to be a good fit, we will let you know. All right. But more often than not, again, we can help you. It just depends on several different factors. Okay. We have helped people that were already fully divorced. We have helped people that had a baby with someone else. I was just working with a client, probably about 8 months ago. And it was painful. Like, there's no doubt about it. When your spouse goes and has a baby with another person, now that baby's in the picture for the rest of their lives. But They were able to learn how to communicate, how to understand, how to set some healthy boundaries. And that, partner that she had the baby with left because it wasn't a sustainable relationship. The statistics on affair relationships working is so bad. Like, it's so few that ever actually work out, right? And so after he left, she came back to him, right? So it can work. It's going to take a lot of consistency and going deeper into that. All right. I've got so many questions here, but I just have another minute or two. Would love to join, but found out today at the end of the workday yesterday that the company is shutting down the warehouse where I work. Ooh, the future is a little rocky today. Take some deep breaths, my friend. Get out of that fight, flight, or freeze mode. I love her very much and want her to come home. I believe reconciliation will be harder than the last 2 years has been. She is currently living with boyfriends. Several of you guys here today with that. I know it's not all rainbows and unicorn parts over there, LOL. They have broken up a couple times. She's a very determined person, and I fear she will stick with her decision to leave. She got the boyfriend 3 months after she moved out, as far as I know. Okay. So what is your question? I get that things are really tough and you're like volatile with work stuff, and you believe that reconciliation would be harder. The last 2 years, she's living with her boyfriend. So I got some context there. Let me know what your specific question is. It feels a lot more like the, will this work? Is there hope? And again, make sure you fill out that form. Diego just posted it in the chat as well. If you're watching the replay, I'll put it in. Oh, goodness. I just clicked it. There we go. So you'll see this exact form that I just happened to click. And then you guys can go ahead and get access to it too. But again, first come, first serve. So yes, in this situation, when they have this really rocky relationship, that is exactly when you can go to hitting the pause button, having them pull no more away from you, no more talks of being with someone else, no more affair going on in the picture, and then going to step 2, where she's actually taking some steps towards you. She's reaching out to you. She's wanting to have conversations about this, right? And then deepening that connection and eventually getting the commitment. And that is what the process looks like. So my friends, my heart and my love and my appreciation goes out to you. I honor you. You came here today, not because you know this is hopeless. If you knew it was 100% hopeless, you would not be the one here with me today. Part of you knows that there is hope, or part of you at least wants to see if there's possibility of hope. And that is what we will get you inside the free call. So go ahead and book that right now. I'm grateful that you are here and I honor you again. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing your marriage thrive. Thank you guys. We'll talk again soon.